Hello, folks. I know it has been a couple of days since I made a video, but I made a voluntary decision to cut myself a bit off it all. You know, just made a couple of comments and a little more, and I worked in a couple of things. Today, no green screen. I'm getting tired of it. Going to get some custom backgrounds for me. Going to make them myself. Going to put them on because um, things need to change. Today it's just me and a black screen, nothing more. Now, let's start by talking about the events in America. Well, Mr. Trump has sent in the troops again into Portland to quell a civil unrest that does not exist. Well, it exists in his little mind, in his little world, but you want to know what I see here? I see another attempt on trying to have some kind of an excuse to do something and to distract people about the obvious consequences of his disastrous economical measures and political, of course, all intertwined. I think he is actually trying to distract people because he's issuing all of these orders and they are illegal. He sends in the troops, then the troops end up by not doing anything except like in Washington DC, pick up litter and protect the ICE agents that go around arresting anyone that does not have a green card or that has a green card, anyone that is foreigner, okay, anyone that is different, anyone that is not a born and bred American citizen, okay. This is the simple truth. But look, even that will eventually run out because, my friend, people will simply stop coming, okay? You won't have any workers, you won't have any laborers, you already don't have any tourists, I know this, okay? A lot of tourist places in America are completely barren, you know? But that is due to more than just this little tariff adventure, this little adventure in arresting tourists that come to your country to bring you money. This also has to do with the fact that USA is losing its attraction. It's no look. Some people like to go to the United States to, for example, look at the glamour in Hollywood or whatever, where the stars of people that were in movies that they knew from when they were kids to take a look at it and to go, for example, to Santa Monica Beach. Go to New York. It was really posh to have a weekend in New York, for example, or whatever. There were even things as simple as, like I said in another video related to Brexit, it was actually cheap to organize a student visit to the United States and go, for example, to New York. New York has, man, great museums to visit, a lot to see. For example, this is just an example, okay? Or to go and visit the Portuguese communities also that are fairly organized, okay, of people that are descendant of that have Portuguese ascendancy. Sorry. So this was all very common, but right now all of that is, look, it's not completely dead. I will say to this question of tourism, I would say the same that I say about American products in Portugal. If you don't know, a lot of the so-called American products that are sold here, they are produced either in Portugal or next door in Spain. I'm talking about the colas. I will talk about the brands Coca-Cola, Pepsi Cola, Fanta, all of that. All of that, those things, they are produced here, and they are produced under our rules. So, whatever the secret recipe is, around here, that secret recipe has to obey our food standards. Okay, the same goes for the burgers in McDonald's and KFC. I think those are the only two that are here. There is also Pizza Hut. Okay, all of those companies, they produce here under our rules. And now, I have a nephew. He's 21, and I have more nephews. Okay, but he's the youngest. He's my kid. Because I raised him like I raised other nephews. But I raised him. Okay, he's been he was now he's away studying, but he was basically he was with me since he was 3 years old when his mom died. And his brother, he immigrated. He went to Switzerland, if you don't know. And the kid has been always with me. Okay, so I I'm his uncle dad. Okay, and he tells me, and he says, for example, that it's not cool to buy American products. It's not cool to go to McDonald's and drink Coca-Cola, whatever, because the kids, the teens, the buyers of the next generation. Because on my generation, at least half of the people would buy American products. Me, no, because frankly, I never liked them very much. I would drink a Coca-Cola every so often, perhaps I don't know one in every month. And as for processed food in fast food joints, I cannot. My stomach I cannot process them. Okay, if I, for example, go to McDonald's and have a burger or KFC or some shit like that, I will either puke it or have the runs. Okay, my body simply does not. I cannot process it. And besides that, I don't like the taste. Nothing like that. Okay, but I tell you what, Coca-Cola I would drink. But these new generations, you know, first of all, they have a lot of options. Around here, we have good fruit juices, very good quality, from from our country, and also from abroad. Also, kids drink beer. Also, wine is not that much. Okay, wine consumption around here has dropped a lot. I don't blame the kids. Myself, I don't drink that. I seldom drink wine. Only if I get myself a, a bottle of good Southern Portuguese wine to drink with a meal, then I will drink some wine. But even so, not my cup of tea. My mom usually jokes and says I have too much German in me, and perhaps she's right. Okay, perhaps she is right because I do prefer a beer ever so often. I don't drink that much. No, I'm not an habitual drinker. I sometimes have a beer with my friends at the weekend or whatever, and always with a meal. So I'm not that kind of guy to buy a six pack and drink it every day. No, not at all. I don't like alcohol that much because it dulls your senses. Okay, and when you are someone that is a bit hyperactive like I am, it's not that good for you. Okay, let me tell you, it's not that good because it causes your mind to go everywhere, and it's a big confusion. And well, let's just end it here. But the younger generations here are looking at these American products, and they're not outright boycotting them. Okay, no one is outright boycotting. They are just not consuming the products and the services. Why? Because there are better things to do. There are better things to eat than go to McDonald's. For example, last time I went to the city where he is, and we went to a big commercial surface, a big supermarket that hypermarket. Okay, imagine, for example, Walmart. Okay, big Walmart that also has a couple of shops of known brands inside of it. Like, for example, around here, Vorten, a German company that sells a lot of stuff here, and some clothing, big names, whatever, and also some restaurants and coffee shops and whatever. Look, and there was the option to go to the American brand uh, fast food, and I saw half a dozen people in that. And my nephew, addressing to one of them, I'm not going to say which one, is KFC or McDonald's or Pizza Hut, because I don't want people to think that I'm trying to attack their business or whatever, because I'm not. I'm just saying I don't eat whatever they produce. Okay? But he jokingly said, no, no, uncle. That is the worst place to eat in the city. So we went to a traditional, normal Portuguese coffee shop that was in the supermarket. We had ourselves a great cup of coffee, a nice espresso, an excellent chocolate cake. I love it. I have a sweet tooth on me, but I'm getting too large, so now I'm on diet. But it was a happy day, so I was with him and with my mom also. She wanted to see him, and we have ourselves a nice cup of coffee, and he had a chocolate cake. I stole a bit just to taste it, and it was cheap. It was completely affordable, even in a large city that it is where we went. And more than that, it was safe and it was good. Okay, and the reason why, for example, American cities, why didn't Walmart was more successful in Europe and this and that? Because it's not our thing. I'm sorry to tell you like this, but it's just not our thing. Okay, we don't uh, we don't want the all of these processed stuff that we don't really know what it is. Look, for example, during the week when I'm working, I usually bring my, and especially now that I'm dieting, I bring dieting in the sense that I'm eating things that are not bad for me, for my health. Okay, this is my diet, and I'm working out a lot more also. But when I don't bring my, I always bring my lunch to work. Okay, I spend the entire day outside of my house working. Uh, and mid morning, usually, unless I'm doing a specific task of my work, I have 5-10 minutes to go and grab two. Just why not? Okay, and I go and drink my coffee. I go to the coffee shop. I have a nice espresso. Right now I'm not eating, but if you can eat whatever. You can eat a pastry. You can eat a salt or savory or sweet. Okay, you can have a sandwich. And if you want to have a quick lunch, you can even have a soup and something else. There are so many options available of good stuff. And also, look, we also have immigrant communities. Okay, there is a sushi bar. If I want, for example, if I want to have sushi for my lunch, I can order it, take out. I can go grab it, or I can pay for someone to deliver it to me. Okay, whatever. It's very easy. It's very easy, very convenient. And even in smaller towns, you have a couple of those services too. And you have the local restaurants. Look, you have so many options with good food that we don't need that. And the same thing, I'm talking about all of this because I'm going to explain to you this. Why would I, here in Portugal, buy American beef like Mr. Trump was screaming, whatever in his rants? Why would I buy that beef when, number one, around here we produce excellent beef, local beef, cheap beef. My personal favorite, is the beef that comes from the Azores Islands, what you call the Azores. Okay, that is an excellent beef, and it's national. And if I'm buying it, I'm helping the producers of my country. And it's not just that. I know that beef is produced rather either there in the Azores Islands or here in the continent. South Portugal also has great beef, and a couple of places up north also have good beef. But in my opinion, up north, vegetables and fruits are better. Okay, I prefer the vegetables from the center of the country or from the islands, whatever. They have better fruits and vegetables. This is my opinion. Okay, but and when it comes to beef, no, perhaps other meats they are better, but beef and pork is from the south. But continue. The issue here is this: I have all of these products available to me. I don't need American beef. I don't want American beef. And historically, historically, both Portugal and Spain, and via us, the rest of Europe, we have always bought our beef from South America. When we need beef, we buy it. Okay, Brazilian beef and Argentinian beef, it's great. I have Brazilian friends, and sometimes we eat it. Okay, they like to make those big the big barbecues and whatever. Sometimes I have been invited, and no, and it's great. They it's good beef. Okay, and when we have any kind of shortages or when we need more beef, we buy it from them. And like I said in a comment, does Mr. Trump realize that Brazil and Portugal were a single state just a couple of 200 years ago, or something like that, and that connection still remains today, and that Argentina was a part of Spain, and those connections still remain. That we have cultural bloodlines, economical, political, historical bonds that are very tight, that are very complex. Okay, that sometimes we have this relationship of love and hate, like for example the USA has with Great Britain. Okay, but we have those connections. So when we want to buy beef, we buy beef from our cousins or brothers or however you want to call them. We're not going to buy beef from the Americas or from the United States. Why would we? First of all, the quality is not that great. Sorry, but this is the truth. South America beef is superior. And it's so much superior that even you in the US, you are buying a lot of the South American beef. And the reason is because it's good. And that is all right. Why not? The United States was making money out of other things. And it was a good client. And a good client always has some leverage over the seller. But right now, but and then he goes and then he does all of these things. He sends in the troops. He he says, "Oh, there is crime and this and that," and he sends in the troops, and then all the statistics, sorry, missing the word, say he's lying or mistaken. I don't know. Either of them being lying or mistaken are worried. I would be worried because he's the president after all, and he should know about these things. And and then the governor himself of the state comes and tells him, "No, you don't need to do this, and this is illegal. What are you doing?" And he does it for PR, to gaslight you, okay? Because you that go daily to the pump and to the supermarket, like me, okay? I also go to the pump to pump my car with gasoline. My car is still a gasoline car. I still go to the pump to pump my car. I still go to the supermarket to shop, to buy my groceries, like he likes to say. Look, we know when things are more expensive. You know it. You know that the meat is more expensive. You know the eggs are more expensive. And more than that, if you have families, you have kids to feed. And I would understand if you were worried, and yet you were not happy, and then you are, and then, for example, it comes out right now that Trump is bailing out Argentina, basically paying them 200 billion of your money, of your taxpayers' money. All of these things are very worrisome, and he's spending money in those federalized troops that go into places. He's spending money with that ice mongrels that go around arresting everyone, that shoot at people, that have killed people, that have injured people, that have committed every illegal act in the book. And then I read things like, for example, this, that an ID card is another way to control you. Out of the blue. Well, an ID card is a document that you can have that says, I am a citizen. So if any ICE bastard would approach you, look, here's my card. Get the fuck out. I'm a citizen, I'm not an immigrant. Get out. And that ID card, okay, that we have, it also has another function. Every foreigner that enters in my country is first they are issued temporary paper, whatever, stamp in their passport, and then they have to have a permit that is temporary at first, of course, and only that permit that also allows them to be in the country, and with that permit they must also have a tax number and a social security number, and they need to be enrolled, so to speak, in the local council, and only then they can work. If any employer employs people that are illegal, he's committing a crime, a serious crime. There are people in jail here because of that. They are fined. Their businesses can be closed, and they simply close them down. So we control everyone that is in our country. And you will say, oh, but you must have some illegals. Of course we have. Issue here is that one day or another they are picked up and deported. And the people that are here, the foreigners that are here, the immigrants that are here, they have guarantees. They have guarantees. They pay to have social security like we do, because unlike what the Americans think about our system, we pay taxes to have services, and you pay taxes and you don't have service, you have to pay for them. And I think you should think about it. And that ID card, that simple document, or the residence permit for the immigrants, it's a document that legitimizes you as a citizen. You don't have to, for example, oh, do you have a driver's license? No, here, for example, you either have a driver's license or you can drive. Simple as that. If you, if you are stopped by a cop here and you don't have a driver's license, you know what will happen to you? The car is immediately impounded, okay? And you go to see the judge. No illegal driving here. Why? You have to have the document. And then there is the access to these information. And you say, oh, like with all of those informations, they can control you and they can see. No. Around here, every service, every state employee of that service, when they access your data, their name is there. And it's a type of algorithm, a type of information that no internal source can corrupt. It goes into a database at the ministerial level, and all access and the reasons why people access that information are documented. For example, if Marge down at the DMV mm, leaks your personal information to someone, Marge's name will be there. And when the police do their investigation, they will say, "Oh, Marge, she went and saw the information of João this day at this time, and she's a friend with Joe that didn't like João and wanted to kick his ass but didn't know where he lived. So she told him, do you understand? Cross. We cross the informations. It's like for example, banking, and all of that. One of the reasons why the UK wanted Brexit, or should I say the oligarchs in the UK wanted Brexit, it's because in Europe we did not want another another repetition of the crash and the crisis that I lived through. And it was a motherfucker, let me tell you. It was really hard. It was really hard living on loans and working like a devil. No sick leaves, nothing. Okay, just to stay afloat because I have nephews and I had a mother to take care of and some more people. We didn't want the repetition of that. So what did we do? Issued laws clear in which you can have all the money that you want, but you have to declare it and you have to pay taxes on it. And we have to know where that money comes from. And if you siphon money to offshore accounts, the state will know it and the state will question you. And in case you do that, they will assume you have that money. And even if you say you don't have it, you are going to be taxed over it. So, for example, if Mr. X sends €1 million to some fiscal paradise, and then in his tax reform, in his tax declaration, he doesn't declare that million, the state is going to know that he did that, he transferred that money, and he's going to charge them for that. And in the UK, there are a lot of people, and there are a lot of fiscal paradise and creative banking where a lot of people, like for example Mr. Farage, earn a lot of money. Not just him. They earn a lot of money. And when they saw these laws were coming up in Parliament, in the EU, and everywhere, they tried to stop them. But they couldn't. From the day those measures were being taken, they started scrambling to find a solution. And the solution was Brexit. And then Brexit was just a bluff to force the rest of Europe to cave in those laws and give them another exception. But this is also the fault of the rest of the EU because we had given them exceptions in other stuff. And the rest of the EU said no. And then they went to Brexit. And then after Brexit, in those moments in between the negotiations and the TCA and all that, they were continuously trying to get back doors into Europe, and they didn't got them. And coincidence or not, the moment Brexit happens, a little time after that, Putin invades Ukraine. And we know now for a fact that Putin was siphoning money through the city. There is a reason why London was even known as Londongrad. And there are still a lot of oligarchs in the UK. And they still have a lot of money, and they still own a lot of businesses, and they still own a lot of, indirectly or directly, a lot of media. So there is no surprise, in my view, that Mr. Farage is constantly in the news. But of course, my friends, this is my opinion. Like I say in my videos, this is just my opinion. So please fact check everything, okay? Go through my sources, the things that I'm talking about, okay, and see it all. But in my opinion, all of this that is happening in the USA it's a tremendous distraction from the money grabbing that is happening. Hmm? Companies like BlackRock, they are buying amazing amounts of cheap property of ruined farmers, for example. Okay, there are a lot of companies selling out to bigger companies, and the people at the top are earning a lot of money that is not taxed. Okay, Mr. Trump is earning a lot of money too because he has the hands in the cookie jar. I'm not look, and you have to understand this. I am not saying they are stealing anything. That is not. They are not stealing anything. They are, however, and at least around here in Europe, that is a crime. They are using their position to enrich themselves, privilege information. No, they know, for example, when they are going to crash the economy, and they can tell a couple of friends, tomorrow I'm going to issue a couple of tariffs on this business, so on this country or whatever, so the stocks of A, B, and C are going to drop. Hmm? And then their friends, for example, can sell their stock on A, B, and C and earn a lot of money. Just an example. So, if that is not a crime in the United States, who am I to say that it is? The only thing I say is that around here, it would be a crime. And in my opinion, correctly. This is why we don't have private funding of country of parties and all of that, because it is preferable for the state to spend spend some money and control the expenses of the country of the parties, and to know who is contributing to their parties, than to have a system where private companies that may be subsidized by foreign actors, like in the United Kingdom, to pay literally for politicians. Look, I think he was an American or an English. I saw an English or an American politician talk about, if you want to know who rules you, see who you cannot criticize without the entire world falling over you. Can you criticize Israel in the United States? Can you criticize Israel in the UK? Just say, around here I can. I cannot spread hatred against Israel, but I also cannot spread hatred against Spain or against the moon and the stars. I can say I don't like them. Think about that. And if you are in America, I would say it is highly unlikely you will have a quick end to all of this, or that this is Germany in 1933, like I saw a couple of people talking about. What you do have here is a danger that the state will enter in a permanent state of decadence. Okay, this is not something that will be quick, but at the rate they are going, barely a year since it's not even a year since they took over the power, and they are already doing this, and they are running out of excuses to gaslight you, because while they are talking, while he's sending his little tinfoil man into Portland right now, and when he's doing all of this, attacking democratic cities, democratic states, while he is doing all of that, the problems are still there. Your farmers are not going to sell their sorghum, for example, to China. China won't buy it. The crops are going to rot in the field because you won't in the fields because you won't have any hands to pick them up, and you are still going to pay more for your food at the supermarket, and more for your energy, more for your healthcare. more for everything, and jobs are also going to drop. Okay, companies are not going to invest in the United States unless they can siphon money from it. So, like I said in another video, you might find yourselves one day with European pirates, for example. I call them pirates, you know. It's those type of companies that go in and buy cheap property and cheap industries to disassemble them and sell them. You know, kind of like what Mr. Trump does. Okay, he buys a business, he profits as much as he can from it, and then he drops it. But I guess in the United States, that is called the art of the deal. I would not consider it, okay? But this is just little me. Now, this video has gone long, too long. I was just going to make a quick thing. I'm going to try to make a couple of more videos during the week with my cell phone, okay? Perhaps in different locations, in a park or whatever. No, I'm going to try to diversify my contents, okay? But I hope you like this one. I'm also going to talk about a couple of news, maybe. Going to make a couple of videos, but we will see. Now, if you are in the United States, I would say just do things calmly, okay? Vote Democratic, remove as much power as you can from them. Even if you don't like the Democrats, my friend, vote for them. Okay, vote for them. Okay, so that now I think it's a primaries you call them right now. The elections are going to happen. Okay, try as much as you can to remove any Republicans from power. And you can also do something. You can boycott their products. Stop buying the products of those big companies that are making big bucks out of you. Buy from your local farmer if you can. Pardon me. Buy from your local producer, from your local grocery store. Okay, don't go into the big surface. Make a sacrifice yourselves, and so that they feel the pinch in their pocket. No, like you did with Disney, like you did with all of that. Oh, Disney. That is a subject for another video. Now, thank you all for listening to my ramble, and I hope to catch you all in the next one. Be safe.